My name is Colin, and this is the real story on how I went from $50,000 in debt, working a corporate sales job, struggling with drugs and alcohol, to generating over $13 million online in the last 5 years. Just a few years ago, I was at rock bottom, and today I own 2 7-figure businesses, a multiple 6-figure business. I live in the house of my dreams. I'm driving my dream car. I'm getting married to my dream girl. I take my family on vacations all around the world. I have a multiple 7-figure crypto portfolio, and I have everything that I've always wanted. But my journey has been extremely challenging, and I want to share everything with you in this video. And this is going to be the entire story, the one I've never told before. I'm making this video to inspire you, to let you know that you can have whatever you want in this world, no matter what your circumstances are growing up. So let's get started. I grew up to a loving upper middle class family. I didn't have the fancy big house. My parents didn't make a bunch of money, but I was privileged enough that when I was born, my mom was able to quit her job to stay home and raise me while my dad went out and worked. And I had a great time growing up. My mom would always spend time with me, and I loved to create, and I always wanted to do some sort of business, even at 3 years old. One day my mom found me inside of my dad's office. I was sitting at the computer, and I told her I owned some business called Calendana, which was a growing hair medicine business, and I was making a ton of money. Obviously, this was all bullshit because I was 3 years old, but at least I was thinking big from a young age. Then my mom would find me in my room making comic books for hours, and then I would run down to her and try to sell it to her for $2 to $5, and then I'd take whatever change she gave me and I'd run upstairs and I put it right in my piggy bank. And when I was 9 years old, my mom got a camera that could film video. I thought this was the coolest thing ever. I was over at my neighbor's house, we were watching Smosh videos, and then we wanted to create our own skits. So we would literally map out these skits for hours and film our own videos, and then I would take it home and I'd edit it up on iMovie. And when we weren't filming comedy skits, I was doing action sports. I loved to skateboard, snowboard, and even fingerboard. And when high school rolled around, I wanted to make some money so I could have a little bit more freedom. Luckily, 2 of my best friends' dads owned huge businesses. One of the businesses was a flashlight company, so I was able to work on the assembly line, and he would pay me under the table $20 an hour. And my other friend's dad, he owned a restoration and construction company where he would basically send us out to the job sites and we would rip apart homes, we would do demolition, we would sweep the floors, and sometimes we even had to clean up homes that were covered in shit. And by the time we could all drive, my mom actually gifted me her old Acura MDX. So on the first day I got my license, I drove my ass right over to the most popular pizza place in town, and I applied to be a delivery boy. And by the time senior year rolled around, I was ready to get the hell out of New Jersey. And before long, I got accepted to the University of Arizona, so I packed up my bags and made my way out to Tucson. I was surrounded by some of the wealthiest people I had ever seen. There was kids literally driving Lamborghinis and McLarens around campus, and I needed a way to keep up with these kids. So that semester, I started doing people's homework for them for $50 to $100 a project. And sadly, I started selling drugs just to make some money so I could keep up with all my friends. But this year became really hard for me. I felt out of place coming from New Jersey. I couldn't really connect with people that well, and I even called my dad one day crying, asking if I could fly back home and transfer to a New Jersey school like Rutgers. But summer was right around the corner, and my dad told me to stick it out, so I did. And when I got home that summer, I went to a house party with all my old friends, and I was sitting out back on the deck talking to a girl I really liked when all of a sudden, I blacked out. I literally woke up on the floor, and I looked up, and there was an entire circle of people around me. One of the guys helped me up to my feet, and he gave me an ice pack, and I put it on my face, and I remember feeling how stiff and how bad my head was pounding. So I rushed inside, and I took a look in the mirror, and I was shocked with what I saw. My face literally was drooping down to my shoulder, and every single bone and muscle felt like it had completely shattered open. And I was quickly told by one of my friends that there was this dude at the party that was extremely intoxicated, and he tried shoving some kid in the house, but he got shoved off him, and so he went outside, and I was the first person he saw, and he decided to just start wailing on me. It was crazy. Like, I had no way to stop it. I literally just woke up, and this was my situation. And I was being rushed to the hospital to have major facial reconstruction surgery. I was stuck in this hospital for almost a week. And the worst part about all of this was the doctor came in and told me that I wasn't going to be able to take my acne medication anymore because it would stunt my bone growth. I was so freaking mad. My summer felt like it was ruined. I wasn't able to see my friends, I was stuck in the hospital on pain meds, and I was gonna have to go back to school as a pimply, ugly kid. But my parents told me, look, it could be worse. I could have died if he would have hit my temple. I'm still alive, and I'm gonna get some compensation because they're gonna sue the guy that did this to me. And when I got back to school sophomore year, things got really ugly. I got denied from my business school that semester, and when we went on spring break, I got deported out of Mexico for being too drunk at the airport. My life was literally in shambles, and this is when I decided to take my acne medicine living inside of my frat house. And if you guys don't know about Accutane, taking that shit in a college environment is pure hell. So for 1 year, I suffered taking that medicine. But by junior year, it had completely cleared up, and I totally regained all my confidence. I was hitting the gym, I felt good, I looked good, and I finally was happy with who I was becoming. And then things really started to turn around when I got accepted to my business school on the second try. And those last 2 years of college, I can easily say, were some of the most fun times of my entire life. We were having weekenders in Vegas. I got to go to Cabo again, and I didn't get kicked out this time. I was visiting my friends' homes in California, and my junior summer, I got to study abroad in Barcelona for 2 months. But all this fun had a price, and my parents weren't able to cover everything. So by the end of college, I was stuck with $20,000 in student loans. So by the time graduation rolled around, I really thought I was gonna get that compensation from when I got assaulted, but the check never came. And this was really depressing because I just came off a 24-month high, and now I was supposed to go sit in a cubicle for 40 hours a week. This was brutal. But I did what I had to do, and I accepted the first sales job I got. But in the first few weeks, I realized that there was no frickin' way I could do this for the rest of my life. So at this time, my inner child was begging me to lean on my creative side and at least try some side hustles. So I set out on my first business endeavor, which was a clothing company called Hidden Agenda. Now this all started with a coworker that I met at work. I had been hanging out with him at lunch, and he was talking about all these ideas that he had with this logo he had made on creating a real clothing company. He told me he had all the connections to the manufacturers, that he would draw the art, and he just needed someone to do the marketing. And I told him, look, I've been filming YouTube videos since I was little. I have a decent camera. I'll take all the pictures and I'll shoot the videos and I'll do all the marketing for you. So we teamed up, and that's how our first business was created. Even though we sold some hoodies, it never really took off. So since I already had my camera, I started my next side hustle called CY Media. Basically, I just created a Facebook page that had all my photos on it, and I started going up to my coworkers at work, and I asked them if they wanted to do photo shoots on the weekend. And they needed some content for their Instagram or their YouTube, so they would pay me $50 an hour, and I would go shoot their content for them. And one day when I was filming someone's YouTube video, I realized I didn't want to be the one behind the camera. I wanted to be the one in front of it. I wanted to be the star. And with that in mind, I sold all my camera equipment so I could have some money for my next business venture, which was drop shipping. Yes, me too. I was a drop shipper. I think everyone was at this point. And funny enough, I actually made 2 sales. I hired a mentor for $800, and on our second call, he completely ghosted me. This period was one of the worst times of my life. I had failed at every side hustle I tried. I hated my job. I didn't connect with any of my coworkers, and I spent most nights just trying to escape my pain. I was going out to the bars on weekdays for happy hour, and trust me, I was not happy. I would drink like 5 or 6 beers and then head home to just scroll for hours on Tinder, watch porn, and I was just so depressed. And I was officially stuck in this hamster wheel of going to work 5 days a week, doing everything I hated, and then trying to escape it all on the weekends with drugs and alcohol. And one night in 2019, I was out at one of the clubs I always went to. It was probably 2 in the morning, and I don't remember anything that happened. I actually just woke up at some dude's house, and my shirt was ripped. I had one shoe on, and I felt my head, and there was a huge lump on my head. I had a headache, and I had no freaking idea what had just happened over the past 8 or 9 hours. I collected all my belongings, and I sprinted out the door. By the time I got home, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize, and when I answered it, it was the taxi driver that apparently drove me with the kidnapper to his house last night, and since that guy didn't pay the cab, he had my ID, and he was like, yo, I have a warrant out for your arrest right now. I'm gonna hand it in to the police and they're gonna come arrest you unless you pay me $200 right now. And I was completely in shock. I had no idea what had happened. Someone's about to arrest me, and I checked my bank account to pay this dude, and I had negative $200 in my bank account. So I had to call my mom up and get her to send me over $400 so I could clear out my negative balance and send this taxi driver his money. And in that moment, I called my rock bottom. I told myself that this was it. I was never gonna get lower than this point, and I was gonna stand up and devote every waking moment to making my life something that I was proud of. So right after my 23rd birthday, I dove headfirst into entrepreneurship. I drove over to Goodwill, I bought myself a bookshelf, 2 whiteboards, I ordered like 10 books on Amazon, and I started digesting books every second of the day. And then I replaced all the partying and going out with masterminds and local events. One time I even paid $2,000 on a credit card with money I didn't have to go to an event all the way out in Newport Beach with these kids who were living in a mansion. They taught me credit, ATMs, and all of these different side hustles. Suddenly I had a whole new taste for life. I was loving it. And by August of 2019, I had enough of my 9-to-5 job. So I said, screw it. I'm gonna go all in on this entrepreneurship thing with this friend I met at a mastermind. He's gonna quit his job and we'll just work every day until we create a successful business. And then we're getting the hell out of Scottsdale and we'll go travel the world. So on August 22nd of 2019, I drove into work, I put my laptop down, and I told my boss, peace, I'm becoming an entrepreneur. And that's exactly what I did. I gave myself the next 6 months to grind my ass off, create a successful business, and move to Bali by January 2020. And to give myself some runway, I liquidated my 401k, took out a new credit card so I could have a little bit of money while I figured out this whole entrepreneurship thing. And in my first week as an entrepreneur, I met this local group of guys that were all around my age. They were all young, had personal brands, were doing real estate, ATMs, social media growth, and they invited me to their office to intern for them. And that was all I needed to hear. I had all my time back, no more job, so I went all in starting that next day on everything they gave me. I would start my day at 5 a.m. sharp. I'd go to the gym, then I'd pack up my Volkswagen Passat for the day. I head out to the sketchiest neighborhoods in Arizona, and I would knock 100 doors a day in 116-degree heat with my buddy.
What's going on, guys? We are out in South Phoenix for the 5th day in a row. I think we've done about, how many doors these days?
Oh my God,
600?
like 500, 600,
500,
endless doors.
We never sold one deal. And then after that, we would go drive around to strip clubs and bars and try to place ATMs. And we never got one of them either. But luckily, I was documenting all of this because I read a book by Gary Vaynerchuk, and he said, document your journey and your journey will become your brand. People started to ask me questions about why I was filming stuff, how they could start their brand, and that is how I made money. Because remember I told you they had that social media service? I was able to sell that like hotcakes. And in my first week, I made $2,000 selling social media services. And then one of the kids at the office reintroduced me to Shopify again. So he told me that he could completely automate it for me and he would build me a store and all I had to do was pay him about $10,000. So I went online and I took out a $20,000 personal loan. And right when I got that money, I took it directly to the office and I basically gave them every last dollar I had. But within 1 week, I started hearing all kinds of rumors about the guy I just paid and how he was a scammer. I was so naive, I thought everyone wanted the best for me. So I kept hitting up the guy and asking him questions about what was going on, and he ghosted me. How could this have happened? The second time I got screwed over and I hadn't been an entrepreneur for more than a year yet. So now I had $20,000 in student loans, $20,000 in personal loans, and I had racked up $10,000 on my credit cards. I was in $50,000 worth of debt. I was so destroyed by this that I drove my car straight to Mexico with my buddy. We rented an Airbnb on the beach for 2 days, and here is where we decided to do everything on our own. We knew exactly how to sell the social media stuff, and we didn't need to get paid commission. We could just keep all the profits for ourselves. But even with this new social media income, I wasn't able to afford all my debt payments. So I did the only thing I could do. I disconnected my bank account from the loan, and I just stopped paying it. And within 1 month, that thing hit collections, and my credit went from a 730 down to under a 600. But at this point, it was way too late to turn back. I was already so deep into this entrepreneurship game. I had read so many books about real estate and how you need good credit in order to get debt from the banks, and I wanted to solve this problem. And for the next month, all I did was learn about credit. And as I learned this stuff, I documented everything on my Instagram. I even started making little videos every single day on all the best cards to get, how to repair your credit, how to travel the world for free. And soon enough, I was actually able to repair my credit. I got the collection removed because they couldn't prove it was mine, and my score shot up from under a 600 all the way up to a 750. And now I had everything I needed to apply for all the best cards. And this is when everything changed. I started getting so many DMs from people asking me for help with their credit. They asked if I had a course, and I was like, holy crap. I actually have something that no one else has. So on Black Friday of 2019, I launched my first official business called Credit Class. Credit Class taught people how to leverage credit, build income, and travel the world. And all it was a private Instagram page that people paid me $250 to access. And inside, it had all my credit tips and knowledge. And on my official day of launch, I made a total profit of $6,000 in just a few hours. I really feel like I had made it. And with all that money, I was able to pay off most of my credit card debt, and I started investing right back in my business and started traveling, living inside hotels, taking JSX to Vegas, eating nice dinners, and documenting the entire journey. And this was one of the most exciting times of my life. And in the first week of January, I packed my bags and we officially headed out to Bali with $10,000 in my bank account, a brand new business, and a completely new vision for my life. And I even flew business class on my way there. I realized really early on that all the money I spent on marketing myself, the more money and the more lives I'd be able to impact. And this begins the chapter of my life as an entrepreneur. 2020 was one of the best years of my entire life. The day I got to Bali, I met my now fiance, and it was her last day, and I ran into her at a pizza parlor while she was backpacking with her mom. It was like God had came down and handed me a gift for all the crazy shit I had been through over the past couple months. I was staying at all the luxury resorts for free. I traveled business class to Dubai by myself. I went skydiving, bought my first Cartier bracelet, which was a huge deal for me. And I went to the top of Burj Khalifa, and I really just took it all in. I couldn't believe how fast my life had just changed from a few simple decisions. And while I was traveling, I met two friends that I decided to make partners into my business. They both had personal brands, we were traveling together, and it felt like a really good fit. And since I was so excited, I didn't even have an attorney read over the contract they had created for our business. And after a few months working together, we realized that it just wasn't really working out. So I paid them out their money they were owed, and we all went on our way. But a few weeks later, while I was scrolling Instagram, I saw that my old business partner and friend had actually stole all of my information and created his own program around credit. I literally couldn't believe what I was seeing. He stole my exact video sales letter and literally copied all of my information for his own credit course. And the worst part was, when I looked back at our contract, I discovered that there was nothing I could do about it. So I had to basically sit there and watch who I thought was my friend run off with all my information and start his own business on the things that I had taught him. This was a really hard time for me. I went back to working on Credit Class, and I did end up scaling it to a couple hundred members and made a few six figures in profit, but I didn't really want to compete with my friend anymore. And at this time, I had a good amount of money saved up, and there was this new business model everyone was talking about called Amazon automation. So since I had a few five figures, I decided to invest in my own store. Basically, Amazon automation was where you pay a service provider and they create a team for you. They list all the products on your Amazon store. All you need is the capital to purchase the products, and they do everything else. People were making $3,000 to $10,000 worth of these stores, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And in my first 3 months, I made up to $5,000 in a single month. And of course, since I had my personal brand, I was documenting this every single day. Everyone and their moms wanted one of these Amazon stores. And soon enough, I went to the company that was running my store, and I structured out a commission deal where if I sent over clients, they would pay me out $5,000 for every referral. And in that first month of doing this new partnership, I made over $20,000 in profit. And this opened up an entirely new income stream for me. I was mind blown. The money was coming in so fast, and I was spending it even faster. I was with my new girlfriend in Tulum. We were falling in love. I was buying yachts, dinners every night, we were going to parties, and literally having some of the best times of our life. But by September, I found out my partner was involved in some shady business, so I transferred my store to a new supplier, and I structured myself an even better commission deal. And over the next 18 months, I onboarded hundreds of clients and generated over $10 million for this business. And the money was insane. I was making $50,000 to $100,000 to $200,000, $300,000, up to $400,000 in a single month. And the faster the money came in, the faster I was spending it and investing it. I started living like I was truly a multi-millionaire. I was traveling all over the world. I was never looking at prices, buying $1,000 dinners almost every night, designer clothes that I didn't even like. I bought a car cash. I was doing the craziest shit ever. Don't get me wrong, the money was amazing, but I really missed teaching. I had completely neglected credit class, and I wasn't teaching anyone anything about how I was living this lifestyle. So one day I had the idea to create a new info product called Leverage Lifestyle. And this course would basically break down every tool that you needed in the modern day to create ultimate freedom. Credit, travel, Bitcoin, passive income, and your personal brand. And I launched this thing and it exploded. And in the first month of launching, we onboarded over 600 new members. And at this time, I was really on top of the world. I was in Positano, so much money was coming in. I was doing everything I always wanted to do, and I had ultimate freedom because I had bought a house in Philly earlier that year and I house hacked it, which meant that I put 3 tenants in the house. They paid my rent and I cash flowed a little bit so I could go out and travel the world while having an asset that appreciated. And I had no expenses. So with every dollar that I put in that I didn't spend on my lifestyle, I started investing it in Bitcoin. And I saw my net worth gap up faster than I ever imagined. I was buying full Bitcoins at 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K, and quickly I was a Bitcoin millionaire. I couldn't believe it. This was like the fastest come up to wealth I had ever experienced or heard of. Just a little over a year ago, I was working a corporate job and now I was a millionaire. And this is really when all the greed kicked in. I said, screw being a millionaire. I want to get to $10 million by 25 years old. So I started taking out Bitcoin-backed loans against my Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin. And this is when my Bitcoin addiction got really bad. I really believed in it, and I still do. I think one day it's gonna be the global reserve currency, but I literally bought so much Bitcoin to the point where I had no money in my bank account, like literally nothing. And I kept buying it all the way to the top. I'm talking 50K, 60K, even $65,000. I was smashing that buy button. And I really thought it was gonna go to 100K. But sadly, it topped out at $69,000 in November of 2021, and my portfolio peaked out at $3 million. I didn't want to sell any of my Bitcoin ever, and I figured, why would I need to? My businesses are making multiple 6 figures a month, and that's only going to go up. So I thought. And in 2022, the Bitcoin bear market officially kicked off, and Bitcoin made its way from 69K down to $15,000. I did not think it was gonna go that low. And remember those Bitcoin-backed loans I told you I had? Well, I had to pay them off as fast as possible, or else my loans were gonna be liquidated and they would keep my Bitcoin forever. So with all the income that was coming in from my businesses, I was paying off those loans as fast as I could, and luckily, I got all my Bitcoin released to me just 2 weeks before Celsius and BlockFi completely blew up. I had just enough time to take a breath, but that is when I got a call from my accountant, and he told me I owed $500,000 for my 2021 tax bill. I literally couldn't believe it. I was gonna have to now sell my Bitcoin to pay for my taxes. How could this even happen? And if you thought that was bad, just wait. Amazon started cracking down on all automation companies, and we had over 100 of our clients' stores get suspended in a couple days. And my partner called me up and he told me I was no longer able to onboard new clients because he had to focus on our current clients and getting them new stores back up. So almost overnight, my income went from a couple $100,000 a month all the way down to $20,000 to $30,000 a month. And that tax bill needed to be paid. And the only way I could pay it was by selling my Bitcoin. And right when I was about to sell my Bitcoin, I got a call from my attorney about the lawsuit from when I got assaulted. And you won't believe what he told me. He said, Colin, we finally got the money. I know it's been 7 years. I'm sorry, but you got a $500,000. It literally could not have been a better timing. And I wired it straight to the IRS. I thank God every day for dangling that check over my head for 7 years, because that is what made me actually go out and take the risk. And maybe if I didn't get assaulted, none of this would have happened. But anyway, back to paying taxes. That shit sucked, and I never wanted to pay that much in tax again. So I called up my accountant and we started to strategize on how I could keep buying Bitcoin but not pay as much in taxes. And he told me since I was investing all my ordinary income into Bitcoin, I had no write-offs and I had no depreciation, so I should look into Bitcoin mining instead of buying regular Bitcoin. So I started doing some research on Bitcoin mining, and I quickly discovered that I could leverage the IRS tax code section 179 that states that I could depreciate 100% of Bitcoin mining equipment in year one. And remember my buddy who owned the flashlight company? Well, over Thanksgiving break, he was telling me how he was mining Bitcoin, so I started to bring it up and I asked him if he wanted to start a Bitcoin mining company with me. And this was such a cool feeling, because I remember when we were working on that assembly line when we were kids, we'd always talk about how we were going to create a big business and be just like his dad. The partnership worked out perfectly. I worked on marketing and sales with my personal brand, and my partner worked on getting the Bitcoin miner set up and handling all of the infrastructure. And in year one of our mining company, we not only mined Bitcoin for ourselves and saved ourselves a lot in taxes, but we onboarded 50 high net worth individuals that saved millions of dollars in taxes. So even though my crypto portfolio dropped from 3 million all the way down to 1 million, and my monthly income went from 300K down to 30K, I had a real business with one of my best friends. And my course, Leverage Lifestyle, crossed 1,000 members before the end of 2023. But by this time, I was so used to the luxury lifestyle and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, I wanted to get back there. So later that year, I got myself into some new income streams. The first one was ERC, and that one new income stream earned me over $250,000 over the next 6 months. But that still wasn't enough. I wanted to make even more money, so I kept my eyes peeled for new opportunity. And one day while I was taking a Bitcoin mining sales call, the guy told me that he had a futures trading software that was absolutely crushing it for him, and he wanted me to try it out for free. So I downloaded the software on my computer, I uploaded $50,000 into my account, and I documented every trading day over the next month. I figured that if this was successful and I documented my journey with it so people could see it was real, I could make commission selling this product. And in my first month, I made over $14,000 in profit. And when I document stuff, people want a piece of it. And everyone started asking me about this trading software. So after 1 month of me trading it, I white labeled the service and started selling the product. And in the first month of me opening this up to people, the software completely tanked. I had lost over $20,000, and everyone I put on the software lost money too. This was now the second time I had to let down clients of mine, and I never wanted to do this again. I realized that every time I got involved with businesses that I couldn't control the results of, I would have these sorts of problems. So in that moment, I made a decision to never get involved with businesses that I couldn't have direct control over again. And luckily, I was able to offer most of those clients Bitcoin mining to make up for the loss. And during that summer, I was hosting a mastermind in Positano, really just taking my time, enjoying the process of helping people and focusing on results. And this is when I attracted my next business partner, who was a young 22-year-old kid who had become a millionaire in crypto. And at this point in my life, I had never bought altcoins or thought about any other cryptos but Bitcoin. But this guy, he finally persuaded me to shift my thinking. At the mastermind, he started showing me all these institutional grade tools he was using to trade the market, an algorithm he had made off funding data that tracks Bitcoin and when to buy and sell it, and I was really blown away. I could see just how passionate this kid was about his process and his results of his current clients, and I knew I had to partner with him. So in September of 2023, I officially partnered with him, and we created the #1 crypto mastermind called Bull Market Blueprint, which completely takes the guesswork out of crypto. We use institutional grade tools, macroeconomic data, and we keep our portfolio to just 8 coins. And over the next 8 months of our partnership, we onboarded over 175 clients and officially crossed 7 figures. And when I got back to Miami, I moved into my dream house on the water, the one I'm currently at right now. And this is when everything exploded. My Bitcoin mining company officially crossed over $2 million in revenue. We onboarded over 75 clients. Bull Market Blueprint just crossed 7 figures, and I finally started teaching people on the thing I was most passionate about, personal branding. When I look back at my entire journey, I realized the most important thing I did throughout it all was document it. I realized at this point I had been posting to Instagram every single day for the past 5 years, and I had the perfect blueprint that I needed to give to the world. I was able to make $13 million organically through posting stories, viral reels, and structuring organic offers that worked with my audience. And since launching my personal brand coaching program, I've helped hundreds of people create profitable personal brands around things they're passionate on, and I've created 3 millionaires. And since I had this massive house on the water, I wanted to pour into people more than ever before. I started hosting masterminds every month with my best friend Wade. And by January 2024, things were better than ever before. My businesses were exploding, the masterminds were doing amazing, I had just bought my new Lamborghini Urus Performante, the one I always wanted, and my crypto portfolio went back over $3 million. But that's when the greed kicked in once again. I had been following our own bull market blueprint flagship portfolio for the past 6 months, and it helped my portfolio grow so much. But I got cocky and I wanted to hit $10 million as fast as possible. So I ended up starting my own side portfolio with my own strategy, and I took a big L. I ended up playing way too risky, and as a result, I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I came to my senses one day when I was talking to my partner, and I went 100% back to our bull market blueprint strategy. And I wanted to tell you this honestly because I'm not perfect, and all of that leads me to today. I'm 28 years old. I'm currently sitting on the couch right now of a house that's so big on the water in Miami, not to brag, but like, come on, 5 years ago, I was sharing an apartment with 3 roommates, paying $800 a month. And now I'm living in a mansion on the water with the girl of my dreams, running 2 7-figure businesses. I have a YouTube channel that's about to hit 10,000 subs, so please hit that red button for your boy. And guys, my life is crazier than I could have ever imagined. I retired my mother. I take my family on trips all around the world. And look, you can do it too. Watch this video, get inspired, and go take action. I was not supposed to be here. I should be in that cubicle, working a 9-to-5 job, retiring with a 401k, and going on 1 vacation a year. But I said, screw that. I'm gonna make my life freaking awesome. I'm gonna become the star of my own movie. And look, it's all worked out. I took 1 risk and now I'm here. So guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I want you to have your best life. So please go do it. And remember, if you're going through the shit right now, my biggest wins always came after my biggest losses. I'm making this video to inspire you to never quit. You can truly have it all. And if you need help, please DM me on Instagram. I want to hear your story, and I answer every single person's DM. I don't have a setter. It's really me behind there, and I'll send you a picture if you don't believe me. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.